In the mid-1970s, a young pharmacist arrived in Abu Dhabi from southern India, reportedly with only a few dollars. No connections, no capital, just a diploma and a plan to open a single medical clinic. 4 decades later, that clinic had become NMC Health, a hospital network treating patients across 19 countries, and by 2017, sitting inside the FTSE 100, the index of Britain's 100 largest publicly traded companies. At its peak in summer 2018, the company was worth more than £8.5 billion. Investors loved it. Its founder, Shetty, was a fixture on billionaire lists. Then, in December 2019, one research firm published a report questioning the company's debt figures. Within 4 months, Britain's financial regulator concluded the company had been keeping 2 different sets of books, misleading the market about its debt by as much as $4 billion. By April 2020, NMC Health, treating 4 million patients a year, had collapsed into insolvency. It remains the largest corporate failure the Gulf region has ever seen. And more than 6 years later, the legal fight over who is responsible is still being argued in court, right now in 2026. This is the story of how it happened. If you're new here, this is Insolvent. Every episode, we take apart a company that collapsed and go through exactly how it happened. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and let's get into this. To understand NMC Health, you have to start with Shetty. Born in 1942 in Udupi on India's southwestern coast, trained as a pharmacist, he moved to Abu Dhabi in the early 1970s. The UAE's private healthcare sector barely existed. Shetty saw the opening. In the mid-1970s, he opened a small clinic called the New Medical Center, NMC for short. Over 4 decades, that clinic grew into a sprawling healthcare group. Hospitals, specialty clinics, fertility centers, and long-term care facilities across the UAE and beyond. Shetty also founded UAE Exchange, one of the region's largest money transfer businesses, and his broader network acquired the global foreign exchange brand Travelex. By the 2000s, Shetty was one of the most recognizable business figures in the UAE. In April 2012, NMC Health listed on the London Stock Exchange, the first UAE-based healthcare company to do so. In 2017, it was promoted into the FTSE 100. By August 2018, at its peak, the company's market value reached roughly £8.6 billion, 10 to 11 billion US dollars at the time. For a business that started as one clinic, this was about as far as it could climb. On December 14, 2019, Muddy Waters Research, run by investor Carson Block, released a report on NMC Health. The firm said it believed NMC had been keeping debt off its official balance sheet, had overpaid for acquisitions inflating asset values on paper, and had insufficiently disclosed transactions with parties connected to its shareholders and management. Muddy Waters held a short position. It stood to profit if NMC's share price fell. NMC denied the allegations had merit while announcing, on December 23, 2019, it would launch its own independent review. The market didn't wait. Within days, NMC's share price began falling, and it kept falling for months. In February 2020, the company's review found potential inconsistencies in bank statements and ledger entries. NMC's executive vice chairman resigned. Shetty stepped down as co-chairman after the company disclosed uncertainty over how much of the company he still controlled. Within weeks, most of the board had resigned or been removed. 2 private equity firms explored buying the company. Both withdrew within the month. If this is already sounding less like a bookkeeping dispute and more like something structural, that's exactly where the story goes next. Stick around, because the numbers get a lot more specific. And if you want more deep dives into exactly how massive companies quietly come apart, subscribing genuinely helps this channel keep making them. In November 2023, the UK's Financial Conduct Authority issued an official public censure of NMC Health. the regulator's own final, published finding after a multi-year investigation. The FCA concluded that between March 2019 and February 2020, NMC published financial statements containing materially inaccurate information about its debt. Specifically, the regulator found NMC had been operating two separate, parallel sets of accounting records, and that its public statements misled investors by understating debt by as much as $4 billion. The censure was issued against the company for market abuse. No penalty was issued because the company had no remaining funds beyond what was owed to creditors. Part of how this happened involved reverse factoring, in which a subsidiary paid certain suppliers through financing facilities never disclosed in the company's public accounts. By the end of March 2020, NMC disclosed its actual total debt was approximately $6.6 billion. On April 9, 2020, following an application by Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank, owed roughly $963 million, a UK High Court judge placed NMC Health into administration. NMC's management did not oppose the move. The judge remarked something had clearly gone very wrong with the company's management and oversight. NMC was removed from the FTSE 100. The restructuring firm Alvarez & Marsal was appointed to run the company and protect what value remained for creditors. NMC wasn't a shell company. It operated more than 200 facilities with over 2,000 doctors treating real patients, struggling to meet payroll in the middle of the early COVID-19 pandemic. Administrators assured staff salaries would continue and hospitals would keep operating. Days after the administration order, Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank filed a criminal complaint alleging fraud and forgery against several individuals, including Shetty and former chief executive Prashanth Mangat. The disruption extended beyond NMC. Finabler, linked to Shetty and home to UAE Exchange and Travelex, entered its own insolvency proceedings. Shetty has said publicly he did not know about the undisclosed debts and was deceived by executives. He has filed complaints alleging he too was a victim of fraud. NMC's hospitals didn't close. In 2022, the core operations exited administration under new ownership and continue operating today. But the legal fight over responsibility is still active. In July 2023, administrators filed civil fraud lawsuits against Shetty, Mangat, and Bank of Baroda, seeking roughly $4 billion. A UK hearing concluded the case should be heard in the UAE. Administrators alleged Bank of Baroda's Abu Dhabi branch helped obscure NMC's true financial position. Bank of Baroda has consistently denied wrongdoing. Administrators also filed a negligence claim against NMC's former auditor, Ernst & Young, in London's High Court. Earlier this year, that case was resolved through a confidential settlement. In July 2026, Bank of Baroda agreed to pay $600 million to settle, explicitly without admitting any liability or wrongdoing. The case against Shetty and Mangat continues. In March 2026, that trial began in the Abu Dhabi Global Market Courts. Both have denied all wrongdoing. Shetty has separately filed his own $8 billion lawsuit, arguing he was the victim of a large-scale fraud carried out by people around him. As of this recording, both cases remain open, with the defendants scheduled to give evidence in the coming months. Separately, in late 2025, a Dubai court ruled against Shetty in an unrelated dispute, finding his account of events not credible. 6 years on, NMC Health is a strange kind of unfinished story. The hospitals are still open. Patients are still being treated. The company was censured for keeping two sets of books, but the individuals accused of responsibility are still arguing their case in an active courtroom, and every one of them has denied wrongdoing. That's a less tidy ending than most stories on this channel. There's no confession, no single dramatic reveal. Just a regulator's finding that the public numbers didn't match the real ones, a trial that's still ongoing, and a founder fighting, right now, to convince a court he didn't know what was happening inside his own company. We'll follow this one. If the verdict lands, we'll cover it. If you want to understand how the next massive company falls apart, subscribe to Insolvent. And if there's a collapse you think we should dig into next, drop it in the comments. A lot of our best episodes started exactly that way. I'll see you in the next one.